Alright, in this video, I'm going to talk about the 10 variety topics that I would cover if they weren't necessarily correlated with soft skills and science communication, which is the new niche of this Dr. ABC channel. Mind you, there will still be claymations, but we'll get to that in a second. For now, I'll just list the 10 off about the bat. The first one we got is no fap and semen retention. Now, this item is more like a thing that, well, I shouldn't even say like that. It's something that definitely is very much relevant in my own life. It's something that I actually depend on quite a bit. It's not necessarily a politics or spirituality kind of thing, but it is a science in a sense, however you want to validate it. And I want to validate it myself anyways, and I know what I'm doing with it, even whether it's placebo or not. But either one of these ideals and lifestyles, I want to make sure that that even as much as I take it seriously, I don't want to make it look like it's something that I have to only care about. I can care about other things in the meantime, which is against these other 9 items on the list. This is a certain one of them, but it's not the only thing I'm focusing on. Hopefully, so you know, with no fap, it's like you don't. I definitely want to get to a point where I recover enough from pornography addiction and sex addiction, whatever else. I want to recover from my other symptoms or problems, I guess you could say, because they say that porn's not the symptom, not the problem, and masturbation, orgasm, and sex, whatever. That kind of manifestation, that vibration, higher level of whatever, so higher self or whatever, all time, almost all time high, whatever. But yeah, I want to be someone who becomes that, embodies that personality that you respect enough to like be like, okay, even if they're still having sex, even if they're still having some kind of wacko moderation of PMO, which is not good anyways. But I mean, even if it was good, it wouldn't be the ideal. But or even sex, right now. But being that person who can talk about these things and publicly, and I guess it was never supposed to be. It was never supposed to be personal. It was never supposed to be a pirate thing. But even if it is, in most modern ways, still seems to be taboo, unfortunately, for many people's eyes. But the people who are in the NoFap community at large are generally really good people. Most of them, at least. Like many of the people that you find on the NoFap community, they don't have bad intentions. They actually have a lot of good things to offer, both from their experiences and their advice and all that. So, you know, what I'll offer from this is not just like claymations at NoFap. I can make those eventually, but content that happens to be related to the addiction sense of the things and my experiences from abstaining for PMO and all that. So that'll be alongside as of right content from apart from soft skills and science communication, even if it's also with it. So next thing we got is deep doc episodes. If you guys remember the deep docs from earlier in the channel of when it was back when it was called Out Crosswind, there were episodes of a abstract and theoretical philosophy series where you saw and heard and read ideas that were very abstract and theoretical, and they were, the first episode was like colors and music that you couldn't understand, but it would tell a story somehow, and even I knew what the story was to an extent. And the second episode was like reading and listening again, very abstract and deep, interesting, insightful ideas. And then you had the third episode, which was more reading, but it was very deep and mysterious and sad in a sense. It was telling a more obvious story compared to the other 2 episodes, and it was very interesting. So you know, the deep docs in general, there was supposed to be a movie sometime later, and then continuing for episode 4, and then further into for another season or something, into a season of its own, 3 more episodes of a season, I guess, for each. The deep docs will continue. They'll come back. There's gonna be either be the movie or different version of the movie that I anticipated. There wasn't too much of ambition or of a lackluster thing, but the deep docs will come back. There are gonna be more episodes I think I can make that will be reasonable for me, not too much, not too little. Um, there'll be more abstract stuff, more theories, more like philosophy in those videos. I can get into philosophy in a second in this video, but next one we got is vlogging. And vlogging, I think I put off the most compared to even the main niche nowadays, which is soft skills and communication. But vlogging was supposed to be one of the niches in the meantime, even along claymation. It was supposed to be the niche that I should have been going for as long as I could have. There's not be any of the cliche vlogs that you see, like a B-roll and the talking head every once in a while, and then go back to your thing and valuing the audience's time, which I'll technically do anyways for some reason at some point if I haven't already. But vlogging is very much something that I would really be doing as of right content. If it wasn't right content, it would be like vlogs about life, but also my ideas along philosophy, which is the next item in a second. Vlogging, I do want to do enough times. I want to have even videos that may be longer or shorter on their own terms, and not even have to rely on thumbnails to tell what's happening in the video. Because with vlogging, I think vlogging is one of the hardest things to make thumbnails for, anyways, because you have to make sure you're pinpointing what's actually in the video and not clickbait too much. Not in the worst way, at least. But you know, but vlogging, I know I want to make vlogs that are good. Vlogs that are more about who I am as a person, not just what my lifestyle is. But both are, in particular was. So I'll go on for that. I'll leave it open ended. Philosophy is the next item. You guys know me pretty well from what I do with my stuff. It's literally like ideas that are both heard of and are unheard of. I use the phrase a lot: uniqueness and relatability, which is basically that I don't have to be unique or relatable at the same time. But that's ideal if I was, but at the same time, but philosophy is a big part of who I am. I don't have to be interested in the ideas I have, even if it's too much of who I am, which is what makes it either too stale or too burdening, I guess, troubled, I guess. But philosophy is still interesting to me, even though I've been all over it all anyways. Not in every area possibly. That's not possible, but that's not supposed to be a thing anyways. I mean, philosophy. I've been as the ideas that I have are very interesting, even if they're not everything. They don't have to be everything. They shouldn't have to be everything. They can't be everything. They don't have to. But I've been into philosophy. There's the philosophy ideas I can show you guys in the meantime that are really good. And I'm not being specific about that. This whole video I haven't been specific about anything, but not much of anything. But the abstract ideas I have for philosophy, again, like with deep talks, the philosophy comes through the deep talk sometimes, but like the philosophy itself is very concrete, even if it's not specific. So the examples I can work on in the meantime. But yeah, next up we got is podcasts. And there was a podcast I made before, like Move, which was Mysterious, Omniscient, Universal, Essential, or Resolute, or Mover. And Move podcast was basically like this idea that was acronym, was the idea that I would make a podcast about my ideas and make them long form and not necessarily short form. Short form would be okay for like special event stuff, if that's supposed to be special, and not necessarily anything else. But when I do podcasts in general, it doesn't have to be like Move where it's like philosophy and anything I'm interested in general. It could be anything that I collaborate with people or whatever, or I make podcasts about something like that, how my day's going, or like that'd be like a vlog as well. But the podcast would be audio format only, or visuals of loud, but not always necessary for context, hopefully, so you can just listen on like without having to look at the screen all the time. But yeah, podcasts, they're very oddly specific. They happen to be something I actually like to do if I ever do them more often, like audio format or video accessibility. And now I'll leave that up as well, open ended. That'll lead us into the next item, which is journalism, which again is very oddly specific, but it's something that I happen to like a lot. I have this weird want to be professionality, want to be STEM person, want to be practicality, want to be productivity, results. I never actually liked results before, but I'm the kind of person who does see himself in a very professional light, whether I actually did anything professional or not before. But I granted I probably have, but for journalism's sake, I could do newsreels for stuff that I actually care about and things that I don't care about. But the things I do care about might be heightened by my enthusiasm. But even things I don't care about, I can make them interesting anyways, and not force them too much anyways. That could work out in its own way, if you know what I mean. But journalism, if I had to be specific about journalism, I could just say that I would talk about things that in the news or maybe even the mainstream media. I didn't mean to say it like that, but let's say I talked about this headset, and this headset was in Mina, there's not to be a monotone tonality in my voice, but some kind of like video where I talk about this headset, the Sony Bluetooth headset, and I was saying everything good about it, everything bad about it, my philosophies about it, the things that I think would work for people who had it, and my weirdly, interestingly more unique ideas of why you shouldn't have it, even though I'm the one using it, and stuff like that. That would be content you would watch, wouldn't it? But next time we got is the Project Tether Claymation storyline franchise series. And that is a show that I have never really put into light, even after the 4 years it's been put into perspective for that matter. But the Project Tether Claymation is one of the most long-term, not maybe even intermediate term, not necessarily long-term, but like it's definitely not short-term, I guess you could say. It's one of those ideas for claymation that are more ambitious than they are sensible, but they don't have to be that way, and they can certainly be easy to approach. And even when they're beautiful and complex and grand the way they are, they could be easily approached in certain ways in the present now, and certain steps I can take towards that future or whatever. But Project Tether was an idea for a claymation that was fantasy and sci-fi at the same time, I guess you could say. These characters, the character development, literally just writing the script for this stuff. Sometimes that would be a better way to step up the way to get there, which is to write the script and story and the screenplays and the storyboards. and then get into doing the animation because I don't waste my time. But yeah, I can showcase all of that as behind the scenes for its own stuff and tutorials, whatever. But if I still do those as claymation variety content, jeez, that's something that comes out of my mouth after all this claymation niching down. But claymation, I do reassure you guys, this will still come back in the channel. It's just that claymation is gonna be on the threshold, the back pocket for now. It won't be a priority, but it will be prevalent, and it will be there every once in a while. So I'll leave Project Tether claymation open-ended for now. Next item we got is piano OST with lyrics, with or without. The piano I can play is the electric one to the side. I don't have a lot of good understanding of music theory, but I do happen to know how to play piano pretty well. Even without music theory is legitimately. I could learn either way, either or with or music theory. And then combine that with lyrics and make even more expensive complex lyrics and melodies alike. And then they would be making songs. You guys, if I don't link this in a card, watch the Project Tether OST Villainous offer from Rate Link to Lisk or whatever. That was what it was back then. I'm still revising the story anyways, but that was a good song. That was one of the best songs I made that I took more time on, that I didn't have to, but that was one of the examples of making content better that I understand. I admit to making content better with quality, but I still prefer consistency over quality, personally, if you guys haven't noticed already. But even with the quality content I make in the meantime, but to each their own. Next thing we got is gaming streams / highlights, and this is something that I don't necessarily advocate too much. I mean, I care about games. I mean, my whole computer desktop layout tower thing, this whole computer desktop I'm using right now to record from the webcam and the mic, its processing power is tailored towards video games, and I think if I don't take advantage of that, even for my own personal or public means, it'll be kind of awkward. So I still play games in the meantime, not to force myself to do that, but to play games just to have the opportunity to, and but to showcase that, even if it's not useful for content or original quality, wherever I can do with that, wherever gaming that could be unique, that could be worth growing from, that would be good for variety content. But the highlights would at least help with that, just to make sure that I don't have to make it too long or too short. But, And the last time we got in the list is Power Apps. I've been doing the Power Apps courses from Microsoft from maybe the September of this year, or earlier. I think it was earlier. It's June or July, and I was doing the Power Apps courses, and they have a very interesting program on Udacity where it's free. You can get the tenant as well for free, as long as you can use it enough times every few months. Every 3 months, if you use it enough times, then they'll renew it for another 3 months, and then you can keep using the tenant for free. As long as you don't expire your tenant, you can keep using it for free perpetually. I plan to at least use a tenant enough times for the course and some experimental app design for Power Apps alone, and then maybe stop if I need to. But I want to make sure I use the Power Apps course and some testing environment stuff for the meantime. If I have to actually publish an app, I should probably buy it anyways, but that's not too expensive, I guess. But Power Apps alone is a good content to showcase, you guys. I could show you the apps I've been making in the meantime, but the course itself I can showcase as well. I showed you a quick scene from like the live story in 4 minutes thing, where I was doing the quizzes for the checking for understanding, whatever that's called. Sorry, but Power Apps is very interesting. I love Power Apps, even if it's use of skill concerning the other things I'm doing in the meantime. Watch Marshcott for that, for context if you want to understand that better. But if Power Apps is gonna be useless in the future, or even for me, for my own needs, and not just my political agorism needs as a agorist person, sort of. Should I say that on Dr. ABC? But but Power Apps has helped me at least understand things in a way I didn't have to before. The style for that matter alone, style alone, something that matters to me. It's one of my bigger milestone goals for my life story, I guess. So Power Apps does line up with that a little better. And if I didn't need the skills from Power Apps, I at least like the idea that I did something about it. So there's maybe not everything transfers from Power Apps to my future, but at least the things that I did in the meantime with it could be still useful for me. So not everything. So that's what I got for you guys for now. Again, no slogan. I'll make up the slogan eventually, but I didn't want to have to pull you guys through too much of this. Even if you cared about watching this video, which I thank you for watching the whole video if you did. But that was the 10 items. For a recap, it's nofap/human retention, deep docs episodes, vlogging, philosophy, podcast, journalism, Project Tether claymation, piano OST with lyrics, gaming stream /highlights, and Power Apps. So yeah. I'm going to come back with another video maybe tomorrow or later on about, even tonight maybe, who knows, about what is keeping me from making more videos on soft skills and science communication, including the things that would be related to nofap, like the discipline and motivation and the confidence and all that and mental clarity. So I'll come out with that video later, I guess. See you guys.